Hey everybody, Methodist Dave here in Batsto Village. And here I am in the workers' homes. This is the little section that still remains of the village where the people who worked on the farm at the mill used to live. And actually up until the 80s, people actually still lived in some of these homes. I think the last occupants were the potter and the weaver, whose home was right at the very end there. That last house there, the weaver was on one side and the potter was on the other side, and they lived upstairs. It was a double-sized house, and there was a kiln in the backyard where he would fire his bricks. I had a teacher who used to live in one of these homes because her husband was a park ranger, and as an employee of the state, he was allowed to live in one of these old homes. I know several people who actually grew up in this little village here. There used to be a lot more homes over that way. You can see the reproduction outhouses in the backyard. Some of these homes actually have modern conveniences on the inside because people lived here. And there would be more homes over in that direction. It used to be a thriving community here. And it came to an end when the state took over the property. And if you remember in our video from the company store, the village and the farm kept your compliance by charging you more than you made for living here. This one says it's open. So let's see if we can go inside and take a look back at one of these charming old homes. So here we are in one of the farmhouses. This has been restored. So here we have the Batsto Village rules. Rent for a worker's home was $2 a month. Morning chores, breakfast must be done before 6 a.m., at which time the bell was rung and the work promptly began. So you had to eat before 6. You had to be ready to work. There must be no unnecessary talking or unnecessary noise of any sort or smoking during work hours on the farm. So you couldn't talk to anybody. Doors and gates must be kept habitually shut. If necessary, open. They must be fastened and in no case allowed to swing in the wind. Laziness and slovenly habits will not be tolerated. It controlled pretty much every aspect of your life. So they wanted to keep this very Victorian sense of propriety. You would cook in that little fireplace there. A lot of these houses have this little addition. If you can see this little addition in the back there, that was for a modern kitchen. Here would be your table. This was your living room, your dining room, your kitchen, everything you needed to do. There's a rug beater, an old apple peeler, some pots, your simple breakfast, simple food, maybe some fish, some root vegetables, maybe some squab or like pigeons, a pie, eggs. Here is a example of a bedroom. So you might have a bedroom downstairs here, and then you have a couple bedrooms upstairs. You'd have a bed with a rope, and you'd have to tie that up and tighten up those ropes because they would stretch. So, you know, in order to remind somebody to tighten up your rope, you would tell them, sleep tight. I meant by tying up those ropes for your spring, and then you would have a feather mattress on top. There would be a dresser. That might be your only piece of furniture. We can see in the corner a little indoor potty. so you didn't have to go outside. There's a cradle. I used to have, my mom has one just like that. That's what I used to sleep in when I was a kid. And there would sometimes be a trundle bed that would be underneath this main bed, and they would pull that out, and the kids might sleep on the floor there. So let me read you a little bit about Batsto village life. Many of the families of the village have been living at Batsto for generations. They intermarried and shared their lives over the years. Some of the Batsto family names in the 19th century include Ford, I know them, Miller, Bozarth, Taylor, Leake, Coleman, Holloway, Bowie, Moore, Crowley, Adams, Southland, Taylor, and Allen. Many of these families have been at Batsto since the iron manufacturing days, and their descendants still live in the area today. The general store supplied the villagers with all their needs. Items were bought on credit, and accounts were settled up at the end of the month. Day books of 1882 reveal what meals were like for people in Batsto. Flour, sugar, butter, and molasses were common staples. Good quantities of coffee were purchased. Pork and fish were eaten often. Ham eaten on occasion. There were tomatoes, potatoes, rice, cheese, canned peaches, melons, and chow chow, a pickled relish made of corn and other vegetables to round out their meals. There were cakes and candles for the sweet tooth as well. By using the 1882 daybooks and examining the items purchased, one can further see what life in general was like for the villagers in the 19th century. They made their own clothes. Many of the villagers smoked tobacco, either in pipes or in hand-rolled cigarettes, though one person preferred cigars. Plates, kettles, and bowls were necessities, as were combs, brushes, pocket knives. Tables were covered with oilcloth. That's just canvas that's been impregnated with oil, so that would make it waterproof. To keep the cast iron stoves looking new, there was stove polish and blackening. To keep one healthy, there were medicines such as soothing syrup and laudanum, a syrup made from opium that was used as aspirin is used today as a cure-all. Many people were addicted to laudanum. You'd have a little porch area back here, the necessary house that you would use in the wintertime. You might keep a bowl under your bed so you didn't have to go out in the middle of the night. And then upstairs was reached, and if you can see here, to the left of this light switch was a tiny little door. That's your stairway. That's your stairway upstairs. And that would be life here. Everything was in one room. And as I said, later on, the kitchen with a modern kitchen was added in the back. You'd have a cook stove back there. But originally, this is all the cooking was done in that fireplace right there. So it was certainly not a luxurious life, but it was life. And people lived here and worked their whole lives. Well, I want to thank you for joining me. And back out into the sunshine. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.